Alright guys, I'm going to be showing you the things I look for when attacking a base in war. So, we just started this war, as you guys probably saw this morning, and given there's only 2 Town Hall 10s in this war, I imagine I'll be attacking the number 1 player because we're going to need every star we can get. So, I'm going to go ahead and scout the number 1 player. So, the biggest 3 things that I consider when scouting a base and preparing to attack it are free pickoffs, the lure, and the attack angle. So starting with free pickoffs, we're going to start up here. One thing I don't think a lot of people do is they look at the scout page like this to prepare to attack a base, but I don't see many people using clicking on the actual defenses to see their ranges, which is huge when doing free pickoffs because it gives you a very accurate idea as opposed to just guessing of what you're going to be able to pick off and with what troops. So starting at the top of the base, we have this archer tower, and it only touches the tip of that dark elixir drill, and you're going to be able to pick that off with an archer. And then over here, there's no other archer towers around. So the whiz tower has little to no range, the cannon has little to no range. You have 2 more free picks up here on the lab and the elixir collector. So we already have 3 picks with archers just at the very top of this base. And then you move this way, and this elixir collector over here does have a cannon next to it and a whiz tower. But the archer tower is out of range, and a cannon cannot defend against minions as it only shoots at ground troops. So you have a free minion pick right there. And then moving down this way, as you can see, the archer tower only gets a portion of this, so it only comes to about right here. Try to guide with that thing. And then the rest is uncovered, so you have a couple free picks there with 2 more minions, because you do have this cannon right here preventing you from using archers. So far we got 6 picks, 3 minions, 3 archers. And then you move this way. This archer tower has those pretty well covered. I don't think you're going to be able to get any picks there. But down near over here, you possibly have a pick at this gold mine with a minion, but I'm not sure with these 2 archer towers how well that would go, so it's something worth trying, but maybe if you need an extra %. But the one for sure pick you have is this elixir collector down at the bottom. Using an archer, nothing's going to be able to get that. And then you move over here, and again, the archer tower has those 2 buildings pretty well covered, but you can see it only gets to the edge of this elixir collector, and this archer tower is a little bit too far back, so you have another archer pick right there. So you already have 8 picks just from that area right there, and then you have another gold mine over here out by itself on the edge, and this archer tower is well out of range of it, and this archer tower only covers the edge of it, so you're going to be able to use an archer to pick that off. And then over here is actually pretty well covered because you got the 2 archer towers, and then you have the air defense, and those are going to stop the minions because they get too close. And then the mortar is going to stop any archers in that area, so you don't have much there. But we did manage to find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 picks just on that base, just from scouting, using the ranges, and seeing what troops we could use to pick off what. And those 9 buildings are going to equal somewhere around an extra 12 to 15% of this base, which is going to be huge, because that means that with my army, I only have to pick up 35% of the base as well as the town hall to be able to get 2 stars. Which can make a huge difference, especially in a Town Hall 10 raid where your troops can die extremely quickly. So the second thing that I look at, and probably one of the most important things about having a good raid, is the lure. We've all had those moments where we get those dreaded half lures, or we decide not to lure and it just doesn't work out very well for us. Pretty much I always lure. I mean, there are a couple bases I've attacked where they're so spread out and the CC is so centered that I can't lure, so I have to lightning it. But I would highly suggest in all cases where it's possible to lure, because getting a clean lure is pretty much one of the biggest parts about being able to have a successful raid. Because if you get a half lure, or you don't lure at all, and you don't bring a lightning spell because you were prepared to lure, but then it didn't work out, then those CC troops are pretty much just going to cause havoc, especially if it's witches, because they're just going to keep spawning skeletons, and your troops are going to be distracted, and it's one of the quickest ways to lose a raid. So, as you can see from right here, we have 3 possible locations we can lure. We have this cannon right here, we have this archer tower right here, and we have the red cannon up here. And just using the range of the CC, which I think is another thing a lot of people don't do. I've seen some raids where people make attempts to lure, and I go back and scout the base and click on the CC, and the point where they tried to lure from was probably 3 to 5 tiles away, or like outside of the range of the radius of the CC. So it had me wondering, because I was like, had they checked, there's no way they would have thought that they could have lured from right there. So always make sure you're doing that. And another thing to be aware of when trying to lure is this white line right here that creates the circle around the radius of the CC. That line will not pull. If, say, the CC was moved from right here to right here, or somewhere in this area, and it moved this line back right here on these walls, you would need to bring a couple wall breakers in order to be able to lure, because it's very risky. Sometimes people get lucky and they get like a hair of a distance enough to be able to trigger it to pull the CC, but the majority of the time, if you're right on that line and you're not inside of the actual circle, then it's not going to lure. So if you have any close calls like that with any bases you attack, I always suggest bring wall breakers, just a couple more, and then try to use them to crack open that wall, and make sure you get a secure lure, because if not, then it could ruin your attack. The third and final thing that is probably the biggest thing as far as your actual attack goes is your attack angle. So the thing I look for when deciding which angle I'm going to attack from is, first of all, the Infernos, because as a lot of you probably know, Infernos are killer. They are the biggest defense in the game, and for good reason. They wipe out everything. So you never want to split Infernos for a couple reasons. One, even a maxed freeze spell, which most Town Hall 10s don't have. I happen to have a maxed freeze spell, but even with a max free spells only last 8 seconds. So it's virtually impossible to freeze both Infernos at the same time and manage to get them both down within 8 seconds. In most of my attacks, it takes me probably a good 20 to 25 seconds to even get one Inferno down. So the idea of getting both of them down in 8 seconds is, you have to have a really superb attack, and most people cannot pull that off. So that's why I don't suggest splitting Infernos. The other reason is when you're facing multi-Infernos like this, they can target 5 of your units at once. So if you're trying to take on 2 of them at the same time, then they're now targeting 10 of your units at once, which means they can target all of your golems, both of your heroes, and then probably a few of your witches or whiz all at the same time, and you can't heal through that because there's no Infernos negate heals. So that's definitely another reason, because when you try to take on both of them at the same time, they usually overpower you. There's really not any way to overpower 2 maxed Infernos. It just doesn't happen. Not something you see. So definitely one of the reasons. And then one other thing that most good defensive Town Hall 10 bases will do to you is they'll set up their Infernos like this person has done here and here, but their heroes will actually be set here and here, so that when you're bringing your attacking unit in to try to take out this Inferno, which is your main target, so that you can move on to the Town Hall, your troops are going to get distracted and go around and attack the heroes on the other side, and then your freeze is going to wear off, and the Infernos are going to start melting away at your troops again. Luckily for me, this base, that is not the case. His king is right next to the Inferno that I'm going to be going after first, and his queen is farther off in the distance, so I don't really have to worry about that. I imagine my troops will take down the king and the Inferno both pretty quickly since they're right next to each other, and they won't be super distracted and be wasting time, which is great. This is a very common Town Hall 10 base. I see it a lot, and I've attacked it a lot, especially during our recent push. I had to attack this a bunch of times. So, the two things this base tries to get you to do is either bunch up too much or get spread out to the point where your troops get lured around they get funneled around this outer circle of defenses right here. I'm sorry. And that's the two goals. So, what I'm going to try to do in order to avoid that from happening is I attack with 3 golems, so I'm going to start 1 golem at this archer tower, start 1 golem at this cannon, and then start 1 golem in the middle where the Swiss tower and other archer tower are. And my reason for doing that is if you get too bunched up, what some people try to do when they attack this base is send all 3 golems into this middle circle and send all their troops behind that, which in theory sounds good, but when you bunch up all your troops that much, it allows the splash damage defenses like the mortars and the whiz towers to just really wail on your troops and really wear them down. So the goal when attacking a base like this is to be spread out enough to where the splash damage defenses can't really dig into your troops, but you're not spread out so much that you start getting funneled around the base. So that's why I would attack like that, and that's basically what I go through when I look how to attack a base. And I'm going to make another video tomorrow on once I actually attack the base, and I'll show you, and hopefully everything goes good, and if it does, then I'll make a video and show you like why what I did worked and how I thought through it. And then if it doesn't work, that's okay too. I'm still going to make a video and show you like what went wrong and what I could have done to stop that from happening. So that's about it. And if you guys have any questions or want any other videos like on anything that you find tricky, it doesn't have to be Town Hall 10 either. I can adjust my troops, like not use all of my army camps or not use all of my spells in order to imitate a Town Hall 9 or Town Hall 8, and I can try to do my best to answer those questions for you too if you're attacking a non-Town Hall 10 base. But that's how I would approach it, and let me know. Thanks, guys.